So, it will be quite simple ideas. I would like to make something like, could be, perhaps you will see if it is, could be somewhat a demonstration about structural functions and architectural project with the examples of elongated monument of Western France. And I will take, if possible, and I will take one example that we did excavated during 10 years with Cuisquet and Roger Joussomme, and the excavations are still following now, which is the elongated monument of Puissé-la-Charrière. But first, we have to remind that almost all the monuments we have in front of us are just ruined monuments. And even the chamber capstones and orthostat, that seems to have a clear architectonic function of support, for example. When it is well preserved, it's not as clear as that. And I've just put in two images, one from Bardenez, the other from a Danish monument. And you can see that in such cases, the supporting function of the orthostat is not as clear as that. In some cases, you have, especially in calcareous materials, you have some orthostats that have 20 centimeters thick. They cannot support nothing. They are facing no more. So I don't say that all the orthostat doesn't support nothing. I don't say that all the orthostats are just facing. I just say that we have perhaps to think a bit somewhat more, especially in Western France, whether it is or not. It's not so obvious as that. We will prolongate this reflection about the whole mound construction. Which function for each architectural element? And the example will be the eastern extremity of this long tumulus. And it will deal with the building site itself. In the years 80, Roger Joussomme, with the example of Chanchalon, could demonstrate a particular structuration within such type of dry stone building he called alvéole. The structuration within the Puissé-la-Charrière mound is sometimes much more complicated, but we're going to see that now. In fact, what has been called alvéole and look like quite simple have a function of relieving arches. You can see even some internal buttress, which are totally full of stones, and which have a special function in a special place. And you can see the relieving arches. There you have. Other works like terraces, for example. All these words and other ones, in fact, are coming from medieval people studying medieval architecture, which is quite different. But we have had the surprise with the coming of one specialist that it was possible to dictate such vocabulary to many elements within this dry stone construction for the function. You can see that beneath the relieving arches for the upper part, you have real terraces. In fact, in such diagram, you have here some Bougon tumulus F structure. For the upper part, you have Chanchalon structure, and for the lower part, you have Le Montieu structure. And it depends on what you want to do, and also the level of preservation of the monument. Montu was quite raised, so perhaps it could have this. Champs-Chalancé is 30 meters long, so it was not necessary to make anything else than that, the upper part. But each part has its own function. You even have ramps that permit the access to the terraces and to the upper part of the building site during the constructions. In fact, when you try to read the monument, if you see the walls in front and from the top, you have the architectural project. If you look at it section by section, then you have the building site. A vertical vision for the building site, step by step, horizontal one for the architectural project. Each of these elements can have sometimes different functions. Some could have been seen as bad constructed, other a bit better, and other very, very well constructed. In fact, they have different functions. That's not. They have been constructed in different way by good or bad masonry. Those one are what they call in medieval architectures arpage. That is, it permits to link laterally two fillings of earth. The earth can go in on both sides, and it makes straighten the construction when you have earth filling. This one, which is usually used for relieving arches, make the pressure go vertically within the construction. And these ones are the external facing of the monument. So you really have to distinguish all that. Even what you can see in here, when you can have some vertical bondings between walls. At first, at the same day, it has been constructed in one piece, and this part has been added. But when it goes up in the construction, it's the reverse. And even the foundation, one just lie on the other. Like that, things are really straightened. And it's not occasionally. It's always in a special part of the monument that have to be reinforced. In the axial part or transversal part. When they think it's quite necessary to reinforce, they can also double the walling, and then you have internal revetment like that. Or for the external facing, the whole monument can stand on itself, by itself. All the construction is straightened by itself. And you have, in fact, a stone filling of the facing, but it's quite heavy. And it just releases on a little part of earth, like that, the pressure with dry stone always moving after the construction, like that the pressure just go down. And even the external, there is a bank in the external, that void is just going on the side at the bottom. All that has been quite well thought. It's not occasionally made. You can see also some stops in the building site, in the construction. There you have some clay with some big stones just at the corner of the construction. Like that, during the stop of the construction, the water can just go out without any problem for this wall. It can stay like that. And when you begin a new, the building site in this place at new time, you just have these very big stones. At first, you think there is just one wall. In fact, if you look carefully, you see there is a stop there, and it's not occasionally, because we are going to see it's perfectly coherent in the whole sector, and it has real reasons. You can also have a wall, a relieving arch there, that has been stopped in the construction, quite curiously exactly at the same time as this one, and then the same relieving arch have been constructed a bit décalé in the space. So, a careful attention, when you pay a careful attention to all junctions of every wall in the eastern part, you then can have an idea of the building site by itself and how it goes on with terraces, ramps, and some earth in red there, some earth tunnels, I don't know. They just extend, then make another ramp, 2 ramps just at the same level. And curiously, that's in this place that you will have some wooden separations. And we have a wooden separation on the other hand at the extremity, so ramps are symmetrical probably. And begins to have some more stone construction with a 2-face wall. Then you have a stop, and Florian will talk to you about it, but this was time to modify the structure of a previous architectural project. And then reconstruction just go on, just to achieve, and the upper part of the monument is only made of stone, unless the lower part is only made of earth and some wallings. When you look at the way it has been constructed, you can see that the there is really an architectural project. And the way it has been constructed, la chaîne opératoire, is in some way always the same at different scales. There you see previous monuments, yet we don't know there was previous monument there. And they constructed these parts first and then joined them. There is the same for this part. They just constructed the black elements at the very beginning of the materialization of the project. Then this part, and then the internal filling. And even within the walling, constructing the walling there, it's the same process. And it's another element. We did yet pay attention to the asymmetrical shape of this monument, and even the asymmetrical in steepy this way, less steepy this way. That you can see in every monument of Western France, of this type in Western France. So, largely, why? And this is just a rough and very quick scene of such sophisticated deployment of technical knowledge. Is it just because it's a long-term process to learn that? Why such a deployment? And I will try to demonstrate that in this case, not for all megaliths, in this case, this building, this type of building, has external forms which were the product of structural constraints more appropriate to timber architecture. If we see all the elongated trapezoidal monuments as this one, which is as large as the Terminus Saint-Michel at Carnac, which is in south of Loire, if you see the dimension of them, you can see that their length is the main constraint. Their width is the main constraint. They can be 30, 40, 50, 100, 180 meters long, but always between 10 and 20 meters large, which is quite strange, In fact, in wooden construction, the width of the construction is the main constraint. And if you want, and there is no problem to have a higher construction if you enlarge the posts themselves. But the main constraint is, because it is an empty space, it is this. I don't know how to call that in English, I'm sorry. The white of the wooden elements. For stone construction, which is a filled space, the constraint is just reversed. When you increase the height, you should enlarge the base, normally. The beams range, that's what the word I was looking for. The beams range, in fact, just growing through the Neolithic in Western France, from 2.5 meters for the ancient Neolithic houses, Danubian houses, till sometime, in this case, is 5 meters, but it can go far to 10 meters in some houses of final Neolithic. And what we can see, if you enlarge the base, it should collapse. But if you have the same length, it should collapse also for stone construction. That's why perhaps it could be necessary to have technical solutions, more technical solutions. One solution could have to be to have wallings, external wallings, curving to the top, as you see at Petit Mont, at Arzon, there, as you see at Puissé, and as you see for very different type of construction, which is Baleares Navette. In this case, you have cyclopene construction, and this is enough, probably, to maintain the whole construction. But this is just dry stone construction, and bending walls are not enough. This could be the reason why they needed such sophisticated elements to make internal structuration. That is, inherited technical constraint to reproduce in stone a wooden conceptual model. That's the proposition. This proposition has a subsidiary and a bit tricky implication. That could be, in fact, we have two things in front of us. We have monuments of stones that are still standing over the soil in elevation till millenniums, and that we can see. And houses, plans, just known by both holes, that we intellectually reconstructed, and with also some experiment. You can easily find some ethnographic comparisons that are not so different from these volumes. So, I won't go this way for the moment. I would just like to propose you the demonstration there, but it has an implication which would be to ask ourselves perhaps a bit more whether we can have to read in a different way the stone-built construction, or trust in our own spirit, mental construction about wooden architectures. And should megalithism learn something to us to the domestic architecture? It's a question. Many, many thanks. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much.